It started with a text message. One line, delivered like a slap. You're useless. Can't even hold a job. Stay at home all day with the kids. Pathetic. My brother's name flashed at the top of my phone. Alex. I tapped it, finger hovering over the call button, heartbeat in my throat. My 3-year-old daughter was clucking at her toy tractor beside me. My 6-year-old son was stacking blocks in the corner. I glanced between them and the message, and for a sickening moment, the hug I'd given them just before dinner felt like a crime. How could I be anything but grateful for this life? I exhaled and set the phone down, letting the text sink in. Useless. Pathetic. My chest ached not because of Alex's words. He'd always had this cutting way with language, but because for one stinging moment, I felt like he'd lit up somewhere inside me and exposed every flicker of doubt I'd nursed since I traded my marketing manager badge for preschool drop-offs. That night, when my husband came home, I was quiet at the stove, stirring tomato sauce while chicken pieces sizzled in olive oil. He hung his jacket on the hook and slipped in behind me, pressing his lips to my neck. "You okay?" he murmured. I felt the warmth of him, his perpetual calm. I closed my eyes. Alex texted me. He knew immediately. He knew Alex's tone, that cheap family brand cruelty. I slid the spatula down the edge of the pan and turned. He said, "I'm useless because I stay at home with the kids." My husband sighed, lips tightening. "I'm sorry." He pulled out a chair and sat. "Did you reply?" I shook my head. "No point." He rubbed my back. "You're anything but useless." I managed a small smile. "I've been thinking." I looked back to the stove, where flames curled under the pan. Maybe he's right. I don't contribute financially. What if I need something? He lifted a brow. Something like a job? I hesitated. I'd left the corporate world 2 years ago, trading boardroom presentations for story time and playground politics. I'd built my own little world of mom life hacks on Instagram, 500 followers, but never thought people would pay me for it. I don't know. Something. I stirred the sauce, hating how small I sounded. He reached out, gripping my arm. "Do you want to go back to work? I can handle evenings." I shook my head. "No, I love this. Maybe I need more." I paused so my voice didn't crack. He called me useless. I need proof I'm not. He studied me softly. "Then do something for you. It doesn't have to be a 9 to 5. I nodded. "Okay." The very next morning, with kids at school and preschool, I settled at the kitchen table with my laptop. I'd booked a trial session at a local co-working space, one of those edgy lofts with succulents on every windowsill and free cold brew. My husband dropped me off, waving as I met other laptops and latte cups. I signed in, took a deep breath, and opened a blank document entitled "My Next Move." I remembered the 500 followers on Instagram, the 1,000-word blog post I'd written about organizing a homeschool schedule that had gotten 300 likes, the small commissions friends paid me for personalized chore charts for their kids. Could I turn that into something? A business? An LLC? I scribbled in the margins, digital course, downloadable planners, one-on-one coaching for overwhelmed parents. Then I paused. I knew nothing about courses, digital marketing, or setting up a business entity, but I had 2 things, passion and experience. I closed my eyes and whispered, "I can't afford not to try." Over the next hour, I researched how to start an LLC, stay-at-home mom, clicked through legal Zoom ads, state filing fees, name availability searches. My heart beat a little faster with every murmur of possibility. My husband's voice echoed in my mind. "Something for you." I typed Mom Mastery by Melanie LLC. By lunchtime, I'd reserved the name, filled the articles of organization form, and scheduled an appointment at the local county clerk's office. I printed out 2 copies for the kids to sign as witnesses, a little ceremony I knew would delight my son, and packed them in my bag. I headed home, adrenaline coursing. The afternoon sunlight gilded the backyard where the kids played, chalk in hand. I watched them ride tricycles in circles, shouting, "Look, Mom, I realized I could build something around this life, not away from it." That evening, I told my husband everything, the LLC name, the filing fee, the clerk's hours tomorrow morning. His eyes lit up with pride. "Mel, that's amazing," he said, wrapping an arm around me as the kids ate cereal at the table. "I love that you're doing this." I leaned into him. I need to show Alex I'm not useless. He kissed my temple. You never were, but inside me, the knot loosened. Mom boss was my new identity. The next day, at the clerk's office, the man behind the counter peeked at my stack of papers. You setting up an LLC? He looked like he'd seen it 50 times today. I handed over my credit card for the $120 fee, tried to steady my ragged breath. The clerk stamped the forms and slid the original certificate of organization across the glass. Congratulations, we'll mail you the approved documents in 2 weeks. I tucked the certificate into my purse as though it were a golden key. My reflection in the window looked different, taller, my shoulders squared. Back at home that afternoon, I set up a makeshift home office in a corner of the living room, an IKEA desk, a comfy chair, a ring light scavenged from my makeup box, my grandmother's old sewing lamp for ambiance. I hung a small sign I'd painted last night. Mom Mastery HQ. I plugged in my laptop, poured a cup of Earl Grey, and Googled how to build an online course. Weeks blurred in a swirl of Zoom webinars, monetize your expertise, and YouTube tutorials, building sales funnels for beginners. I spent nap time scripting video lessons on time management, grading my son's math sheets with one hand and pausing to speak to my webcam with the other. Emma, my daughter, who'd been a preschooler when I left the workforce, sat beside me on the couch, drawing in her sketchbook. "Mom, are you filming again?" she asked, brow furrowed. "Yep, just recording module 3, I said, wiping sweat from my brow. She looked at me, then asked, "Can I be in it?" I laughed. "Sure, would you share how you and I plan our week together?" Her face lit up. "Yes." And just like that, I found my brand's heart. Real parents, real kids, real solutions. 2 months later, I launched a pilot program, 5 modules on mastering the juggle, homemaking kids and your sanity, and sold it to 20 sign-ups at $99 each. The payments rolled in, $1,980, cluttering my Stripe account. When I showed my husband the dashboard, his jaw dropped. "You did it," he said, voice thick. "You're actually an entrepreneur." I grinned. "I'm my own boss." Then came the real test, Thanksgiving. Every year, we gathered at my parents' house, my brother Alex included. I'd been avoiding him. Our last conversation had been raw, but I knew what I had to do. On the big day, I wove through the kitchen, where my mom stirred stuffing and my dad basted the turkey. My kids dashed past with whipped cream shaved cheeks. Cousins shrieked about football, and there, at the head of the table, sat Alex, looking just as smug as in his text message. I leaned into him, kissed his cheek. "Happy Thanksgiving." Then I took my seat at the end of the table, the place I'd always carved out for myself. He folded his arms and arched a brow. "So, how's the wife life?" he drawled. I kept my voice light. "Great." I looked around. "I actually have some news." The chatter died down. My mother raised her eyebrows. My father set down his turkey leg in curiosity. Alex smirked. This would be fun, he thought. I reached into my purse and pulled out my phone, flipping it to face projecting on the screen we keep in the kitchen for slideshows. "I launched my own business," I said. "I set up an LLC, Mom Mastery by Melanie LLC, and I just closed $1,980 in sales this month." I tapped a few times to bring up my Stripe dashboard, 20 transactions, client testimonials, positive reviews. The table went silent. My mother's spoon hovered. My dad blinked. Alex's smirk faltered. He opened his mouth, closed it. I shrugged. "Guess I'm not as useless as you thought." I looked him in the eye, calm but firm. "It's been a lot of work, long days, no guarantee, but worth it." No one laughed. Alex looked away, then sneered. "Must be nice living on other people's money." His tone oozed derision, but I felt a warm flash of triumph. I smiled. No loans, no bank mortgages, all cash, and no one pitched in, except me and my clients, who pay me for my help. My dad cleared his throat. "That's impressive, honey." Alex jabbed his fork into the turkey aggressively. "Well, good for you," but the edge was dulled. My reveal had unsettled him, and I loved the way his shoulders tightened. My mother reached for my hand. "Tell us about the course, dear." I launched into my spiel, enrollment for the next cohort, module breakdown, guest experts, live conda. I watched Alex's face redden as neighbors asked questions, complimented me, and scribbled notes. He sat there, fork idle, forced to listen. After dinner, when the pies were passed, Alex cornered me in the hallway. Hey, he said, voice low. Look, I, I didn't expect that. He rubbed the back of his neck. I'm sorry for what I said. I smiled, warmth in my chest. Thanks. I needed you to see. I'm proud of what I've built. He nodded. Me too. Then he grinned, sheepish. Think you could give me a discount on that course? I need to get my life together. I laughed and punched his arm lightly. Sure, family discount. He breathed out a laugh. Thanks, Mel. You're the best. I pulled him into a side hug. Family always. Later that night, I sat with my husband on the porch swing. The house quiet, except for cricket songs. You saw that? He said, eyes shining. I did. I rested my head on his shoulder. I showed him my LLC, and he got it. He stroked my hair. You shut him down in style. I smiled, thinking back, the sting of that cruel text, the panic, the decision to fight back. Setting up an LLC had been my secret rebellion, my way of turning doubt into currency. Tonight, at Thanksgiving, I turned it into acceptance. And as the autumn breeze wrapped around us, I realized I'd given myself the best gift of all, proof that stay-at-home moms aren't useless. We're unstoppable, one dream and one spreadsheet at a time. A week after that Thanksgiving dinner, I sat at my desk in my makeshift home office, Mom Mastery HQ, complete with a fresh pot of coffee and a steady view of the backyard swing set, and stared at the blinking cursor on my laptop. The screen was empty, but my calendar was full. First cohort had wrapped up, and the Foundations course was suddenly becoming a monthly subscription. I just hit $10,000 in revenue for November, more than I'd ever made in a single month at my old marketing job. My inbox pinged with new signups, parents desperate for help managing the morning chaos, couples who wanted to co-parent more smoothly, grandparents suddenly thrust into daycare duty. Each email felt like a little lifeline tossed across the digital divide. Please teach me to thrive, not just survive. I leaned back, hands behind my head, and let out a long breath. It wasn't easy, juggling video shoots with toddler tantrums, draft revisions with preschool pickups, credit card bills, with client invoices, but looking at those numbers, hearing the stories of families finding peace, I felt the old imposter whisper slip away. I wasn't useless, I was unstoppable. That afternoon, my phone buzzed. It was Alex, need your help. Call me. I tapped the number. Hey, I said, trying to sound casual even though my heart fluttered. What's up? His voice was tight, low. Business question. Remember that brand design friend of yours? What's her name? The one you hired for your course website. I laughed. You mean Claire Moskowitz? She's brilliant. Why? Alex hesitated. I'm rebranding a nonprofit I started. It's not going great. Could use someone like her. And maybe you too, Mom Mastery style tips for some of our parents. I blinked. You want me to work with you? He exhaled. I was thinking. Maybe I was too harsh at Thanksgiving. I realized you've built something incredible. If there's any way to patch things up. I smiled, warmth flooding. I'd love to help. Let's chat details. We set up a Zoom call for later that night. When we connected, Alex spun through a slideshow of a scrappy fundraiser webpage covered in stock photos of smiling kids. I need a voice, he said. Something authentic. Something that says family first. Yours. I nodded, heart swelling with pride. That sounds like a great project. I can offer you a mini package, brand voice, content strategy, and a 30-minute training session for your board so they can keep social posts consistent. He looked relieved. I'll send you the files first thing. And, I'm sorry about what I said last week. I shrugged. We all say things we regret. You called me useless, hurtful, but I get it. Let's focus on moving forward. Thank you, he said. Voice thick. Really? We signed off, and I sat back, thinking he'd asked for help because he realized I wasn't useless. I was useful to myself, to my family, and to others. Over the next 2 days, I carved out work blocks around preschool pickups and dinner prep. I crafted a brand voice guide for his nonprofit, simple, empathetic, solution-oriented. I recorded a module on turning family values into marketing magic. I mailed him a custom workbook, stamped with "Practice what you teach." Then came the unexpected gift, a handwritten note in his FedEx box. Thanks, little sis. You're my hero. His handwriting had always been spidery, never neat, but each crooked letter felt like a hug. I stuck it on my bulletin board, right next to the LLC certificate, and teared up. December approached with its own whirlwind. I launched a free 12 Days of Mom Mastery email drip. Each morning, subscribers got a quick video, 5 minutes on topics like managing holiday stress, DIY schedules that work, balancing family and work without losing your mind. Within hours, registration exploded. 2,000 parents signed up in the first 24 hours. My server groaned under the traffic. That evening, as I collapsed onto the couch with my husband, I told him about the spike. 2,000, I said, voice incredulous. 2,000 people trusting me with their mornings. He hugged me. That's incredible. And well-deserved. It felt surreal, me the stay-at-home mom with an LLC hosting thousands of parents all over the country. The imposter voice tried to creep in. Who did I think I was? But the positive replies poured in. Your tip on nightly meal prep saved my sanity. Can't believe how simple the chore chart hack is. Thank you. I'm actually enjoying the holidays this year. With each message, I felt more anchored in my calling. On December 20th, I received an email from a big national magazine's editorial calendar. We'd love to feature you in our January issue on entrepreneurs to watch in 2023. The writer wrote, your story trading a corporate career for home-based entrepreneurship resonates with many. Would you like an interview? I pinged my husband. They want to profile me. He nearly choked on his coffee. That's huge. I spent the weekend prepping curated photos of my desk corner, headshots, my story, why I started Mom Mastery. I practiced my talking points from the bank rejection to the LLC to the first $1,000 sale to the face I'd seen on my server log that morning from a lonely dad in Idaho. Each point reminded me how far I'd come. January arrived in a flurry. The magazine piece dropped as Mompreneur of the Month. Social media buzzed. Newsletter subscribers doubled to 5,000. Suddenly, I had inbound requests, podcasts, speaking invites, media interviews. I hired a virtual assistant, my first hire, to help schedule calls and manage email. My kids watched as I signed my first W-2 for someone else. I felt a fierce rush. I was creating jobs, too. Through it all, Alex kept calling for advice on everything from brand colors to donor outreach emails. Our old sibling rivalry had morphed into mutual respect. We'd share jokes about boyhood Lego disasters, and he'd update me on his nonprofit's holiday toy drive, using my website copy, Change the World One Child at a Time. He apologized again for his useless dig, and I offered him free lifelong course access. Alex slurred our childhood together. I forgave him, feeling the sibling bond glow brighter. One cold February morning, I woke to a text. I pitched your platform to my HR team. They want a corporate package for our 2,500 employees. Let's talk ROI metrics. My heart fluttered. Corporate contracts. I'd only ever sold to individual parents. I called him, voice trembling. You did what? He laughed. I told them, if your course can help families survive chaos, just think what it could do for employee mental health. They agreed. 6-figure deal. I sank onto the edge of my bed. Alex, you've just sold Mom Mastery to your mega company. He cleared his throat. I thought you'd want to expand. I closed my eyes, then opened them wide. Yes, I do. We sketched out a plan on a Zoom whiteboard, customized modules on work-family balance for remote employees, group coaching sessions, and a live virtual keynote. When we hung up, I danced around the room, not caring who saw me, my hair flying, my arms reaching for the ceiling. That spring, I found myself at a corporate headquarters in Midtown Manhattan, delivering an inaugural Work Plus Family Synergy workshop to 150 Zoom-goggled faces, executives in power suits, remote workers in sweatpants, a toddler peering curiously at screens. I delivered the session with raw authenticity, my son's Lego Crash soundtrack, as a reminder to build resilience, the nightly family huddle hack, my own story from stay-at-home mom to LLC owner. The chat flowed with applause emojis and tears. The HR director wrote, best session we've ever hosted. Afterwards, my phone buzzed with LinkedIn invites, friend requests, and a DM from a leading parenting podcast. We'd love to feature you this season. Your story is epic. It felt like a ripple turning into a wave. Driving back to the suburbs that evening, Emma in the backseat chattering about her school play, I realized something profound. My business had outgrown the stay-at-home mom label. I'd carved out a new identity, one that embraced both motherhood and entrepreneurship. I could lean into who I was, a parent with drive, heart, and a knack for solving real problems. By summer, Mom Mastery boasted 25,000 subscribers, 2 full-time staff, and a robust slate of corporate clients. I'd relocated our operations to a charming brick office near the preschool where the kids could walk past and wave through the windows. On the storefront, a simple black sign, Mom Mastery, empowering parents everywhere. Inside, vibrant post, it's clung to whiteboards, laptops hummed, laughter and brainstorming filled the rooms. My team, a fellow mom blogger, a former HR manager, and a part-time sound engineer, joked that I'd built corporate parental nirvana. One balmy July evening, we hosted a family-forward mixer on our rooftop terrace. Clients, neighbors, employees, and yes, Alex and his board. They toasted success, swapped stories, and Alex raised a glass to me, to my little sister, who proved the world wrong. I felt tears sting again, not from anger or self-doubt, but gratitude. At home that night, my husband and I sat on our own porch, kids safely in bed. "Look at what you've built," he said, hand on mine. "You've changed lives." I nodded. "I didn't just show Alex my LLC," I murmured. "I showed myself what I was capable of." I paused, "and I think Grandma would be proud." He leaned in and kissed my cheek. More than proud. Above us, the stars blinked into place, as though applauding this unlikely success story. The stay-at-home mom, who launched an LLC on a hunch, faced down her brother's doubts, and built an empire of empathy and empowerment. And as I gazed into the night, I realized this was just the beginning. There would be new challenges, scaling, competition, burnout. But I'd learned the hardest lesson of all, that my worth wasn't measured in a paycheck, but in the courage to turn doubt into action. Because sometimes a single hurtful text can launch a revolution, one LLC at a time.